Hi, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to take this old gearbox and we're going to make something out of it. So stay tuned.
Later.
Okay, so what I forgot to do was actually film stripping down the gearbox. So what I did was I started off with a fully built up gearbox. Now this is a remote change. What I used was a rod change gearbox, but so the differential and there's a few other areas are a little bit different, but the principle is still the same. So I started off with fully built up gearbox casing, complete with the clutch housing and the walk. So first thing I did obviously was need to remove the diff, strip out the gears, and empty the box to lighten it as much as possible, because obviously this is going to be a little side table. I don't want to be having a really heavy thing to lug about if I want to decide to change the layout of my office at any time. The other thing to do then obviously was to take off the clutch housing, take off the walk, free all this up and clean it, take all the gubbins off it that we don't need, again to lighten as much as possible. So I did that, was left with bare components, which obviously looked pretty disgusting. So the next thing I did after that was thoroughly clean them with engine degreaser. I used diesel, a plethora of toothbrushes, wire brushes, and so on. Eventually got them all really clean over the course of a few evenings, so maybe about a week or so of evenings and Saturday. So got all of that done, and then the next thing after that, got them all cleaned, and then I painted them. So I'll just show you that. Now if I just get these out of the road. So there we have, finished and empty, completely clean gearbox casing. And we have the clutch housing, the walk, again completely clean, and the diff housing. Incidentally, this was the gearbox which was on my Rally Mini, and was the gearbox which was being used on my very last competitive event in that car, when it decided that some of the gears no longer wished to stay inside the diff, and blew a hole clean through the side of the diff casing, emptied out all the oil all over the stage. But yeah, thankfully it was the last stage of the rally, and we finished, and we still finished well. We put in a good enough time, and I think we finished 12th overall. But actually, if you're interested, I'll put a link up in somewhere up here to that rally if you want to check it out, which was good fun. It was an MG Car Club classic trial, night trial, so it was a lot of fun. So yeah, and next thing then to do is to build this up. I haven't 100% decided if I put the diff casing back on again, so I may or may not do that. We'll see. Anyway, it goes on like so. Then the clutch casing goes on. Put this up on its side. I can knock it on. I'm obviously not going to put any gaskets in this. Don't need gaskets in this. And then once that's on and tightened up, then obviously the walk goes on, and have that built up as well. So yeah, I just went with the aluminium finish on the black, just for a little bit of appearance. Anyway, so that's about as far as I can go at the minute. I'm waiting on. I'm putting some brand new nuts and bolts on. I'm just waiting for them to come actually from Mini Sport. I'll get those on and tightened up, and that will be that done. Get this off without falling on my foot. So then, next thing will be I need to get a top for this. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do yet. I do have a contact at a kitchen manufacturer, so maybe I can get a nice little piece of off-cut real wood countertop, cut it down. I'm not sure if I'll follow the profile of the gearbox casing or will I have it over ceiling, but whenever I decide on that there, I'll get this cut down and get it on, and there's only a matter of wood screws up through into it as well. It's only a little top. It'll only be a few seconds for you. This may be a week or so for me. So yeah, that's really where we are at the minute. The next thing I need to do as well is to get the some form of legs on. Obviously it's going to be quite small, so I want to have it sitting probably about maybe 12 to 18 inches high. So yeah, so I just have to get that done. I have an idea in my head of how I'm going to do it. I just need to get a friend who has who's a welder, to get him to weld it up. I'll just have to wait until lockdown restrictions allow him to go back to work again, so we can get that done. So yeah, that's where we are at the minute. If you just continue to watch, you'll see where we go in the next few weeks, so which I think is going to be a few seconds for you. So yeah, let's see where we get.
Later.
Okay, so it's been a few days later since my last little segment. So what I now have is my delivery from Mini Spares of new nuts and bolts for holding on the clutch housing and the walk, and also some of the diff housing. I haven't got the larger bolts or nuts for them yet, as I think that's where I'm going to mount the legs, the cantilever leg that I'm going to be designing up for it. I also have got this piece of off-cut timber from the kitchen supplier that I have contact in. Since then, I've actually just traced around the casing, marked up a few screw hole positions. I'm going to cut this about 1.5 inches off the end of it here. That's a little bit too big for the oversail, so we'll get that cut off. Then that'll be sitting on top here, screwed up from the underside. So we'll get that done once I get the diff housing mounted. So I'll do that now. So first of all, put the diff housing on. Sorry, put the clutch housing on. Okay, what I'll do is I'll actually turn it up on its belly here, so I can put these on. Okay, so I don't need all of the nuts on. Obviously, it's not going to be carrying anything other than it's just holding it on. So I'll just put a couple on in the inside. I'm not going to bother with washers for this because I don't really think there's really an awful lot of point for the application I'm doing here. So get these whizzed up here. I think what I'll do is I'll fast forward this bit. You don't really need to see me tightening these up in real time. Okay, so next is the walk. Okay. Okay, so that is the clutch housing on. Turn her over, and we'll fit the repainted diff. And like I said, we'll just put on the 3 smaller nuts here. What I want to do is probably use the larger studs for the mounting points for the legs, which will come down and then cantilever under the casing. Okay, there we have that. So that is that area done. What I have done off camera was I cleaned up and painted the speedo drive. So I will fit the speedo drive onto the side here as well, just to close off that section there. So again, I'm need some bolts for that. So I'm just waiting on a delivery coming of quite a large stash of UNF nuts and bolts. So I'm getting low on new clean bolts. So yeah, just wait for that to come. This can be added at any time. And then, as a matter of cutting this down, that will be sitting approximately there, with about 1.5 inches off it at that side. So next thing to do is to whiz this down to size. Okay, so what I've done now is I've taken about 1.5 inches off the end of the piece of timber. And unfortunately, when that happened, there was a crack along where some of these, you can see it's like a butcher board, and there's a crack along there. Unfortunately, that split on me, so I had to be re-glued together. And whenever that was fully dried, got the whole thing sanded. So I'm now ready to pre-drill. So because this is solid wood, I want to pre-drill here, make it a bit easier to get the screws in. So that's the next step. So pre-drill these little holes just to help a wee bit. They're going too deep, because obviously I don't want to go right through, and I want the screw to bite. This is to make a bit easier. Okay. So now that I have that done, okay. So next thing is to get these lined up. I believe that is the right way lined there. Yep. So put this up on top. Just get lined up to the holes. Okay, so that's that. I'm just using chipboard screws. They're a good screw with a good size head on it as well, and should be pretty good at gripping. So just run these in. So there we have that fitted. Let me give it a bit of a sand again. I've just picked up a few dirty marks from the bench, but yeah, that's the table portion done. I still need to just finish off by putting the speedo drive onto the side. I'm saying just waiting on some bolts coming. They're still delayed, so hopefully that'll be much longer. So I can get this on, which means then once I have this finished, I can take it to get its legs made up as well. So from today, hopefully local business and so on are able to return to some form of trading. So I just need to check that all is okay on that front to get those made up. And then another thing I want to do is, while I'm getting that done, is to get these old gears added up here, get that welded into that, and get these well cleaned so I can put a couple of tacks through that there. This is actually going to put a bulb in here then as well, one of those nice old-fashioned bulbs. And what I'll do actually is I'll drill down through the tabletop so that I can feed the wiring through, and wiring will actually go through into the bell housing and come out, so they'll look like some invisible wiring as well. So that kind of makes it a little bit of a nice feature there, I think. So yeah, again, it needs to be cleaned, and have it sitting on here somewhere. I just need to find the best place for it, probably somewhere like that, and it still gives me plenty of space. So yeah, that's where we are so far. That's about as far as I can go at the minute, until I get the bolts to get this on, and then I can get the legs designed up. So yeah, there we have it.
One eternity later.
Okay, so we've just jumped forward quite a few weeks since the last little clip. So a couple of things have changed. I think maybe I was trying to overcomplicate how I was going to actually stand this. So I want this a little bit higher than obviously the height of Gearbox. So I had all different ideas of how I was going to make legs for it, and how they were going to mount. So as I said, I think I was overcomplicating it. So what I decided to do in the end was I got these from eBay, just simple little hairpin legs, and these will just screw it in underneath the worktop, and that will raise it up to the height that I'm looking for. Now the eagle-eyed advantage, you will notice the worktop has changed. The reason for that was the other piece I had was cut just big enough to sit over the gearbox casing, and didn't have sufficient space to actually mount these on. So this is a new, possibly a temporary one. I may keep it though, depending on how it goes. Maybe until I get a slightly bigger piece of solid wood again. So this is a piece of laminate worktop. Like I said, it's going to do the job as I need it. It's only going to be from my office here and in the man cave. So yeah, so tonight finally, after a few months, we're finally going to finish the gearbox desk. So let's get these fitted. So basically what I've done was I've pre-drilled the bottom of this. These are simply going to be held on with a number of wood screws. So let's get these screwed in, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so these came with their own little screws. So these little black-headed ones. So like I've said, I've pre-drilled the screw holes. So just to help these to go in. There's 5 in each leg. Tight. That's 2. Change the longer screwdriver, so we'll come back to that one. So that's one on, get the other 3 done, and then we'll see what it looks like. So there we have, that's the completed gearbox side table. So with the hairpin legs. So as you can see, they even come with these little feet as well if you need them. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So all we need to do now is find a nice place for it, and that'll be that job finished. There you have it. That's the completed Gearbox side table. So I hope you enjoyed this little series that I've been doing. It has taken a number of months for yourselves watching it. It's only been a few minutes, but yeah, it's been quite an enjoyable little project to do. The gearbox itself has a bit of significance to me. The gearbox casing and the diff was, well, that whole unit was as fitted to my Rally Mini, which unfortunately during I think it was the 2017 or 2018 M&G Classic Trial, I unfortunately blew the diff, and there still is the hole still on the side of the diff where the plant gear decided to go through the side, and as well as that there's a number of fins are actually missing from the gearbox casing itself, from bottoming out on a few rocks and so on before I fitted a sump guard to the car. So yeah, if you're interested in how I did it, or if you're looking to know where I got some of the little pieces like the hairpin legs and so on, yeah, just drop me a message, comment down below, or if you visit my Instagram account at Team Ballylock Classics and drop me a private message, yeah, I will give you a few pointers on how I did mine. So yeah, hope you find this enjoyable. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.